Good day, you absolute legends. In today's video, we are going to be playing No Man's Sky from scratch, a brand new save. Now, I have over 15,000 hours in No Man's Sky, so I'm going to be sharing with you all my hints, tips, and tricks. So, in this episode, we are going to get from the very first spawn, we're going to be doing the initial tutorial missions, and then we're going to get up to the anomaly, obviously the space station as well. But I'm going to show you what I do along the way in order to get the very best out of your first time experience. So here we go. It is a brand new game. We're not going to be doing any sort of cheating, duplication, or anything like that in this run. This is a pure playthrough run. So the first thing I always recommend to do, and you can see it right here, is that we are going ahead and just find yourself any kind of rocks, trees, and you want to get yourself ferrite, dust, and carbon. That is like the first kind of things I always do. So straight away, we're going to mine everything that we see. If it's a rock, mine it. If it's a tree, mine it. But also keep a lookout for the little blue crystals on the floor as well. You will need them in order to fuel up your starship, which you will be getting fairly soon. So all we're going to do is keep on mining absolutely everything. Now, the first thing we need to do is also to install a scanner, which again, you'll need these basic resources in order to do so. So again, spend a good 5-10 minutes doing this and just get as much as you possibly can. So for scanner, we just need a little bit of ferrite, dust, and then you are off to the races. Now we need to do a scan, and this will now give us some more options. So an A, which is for sodium, C+, which is for carbon, condensed carbon, if you will. H is for obviously the dihydrogen crystals, which again, these are the crystals that you'll need for your spaceship. So if you see any of them, make sure you pick them up. And also as well, if you see any oxygen, as well, make sure you go and pick it up, because you will need oxygen a little bit later on, because there is a storm that is automatically triggered down the line, and you'll need oxygen for that to survive it. So we're just going to carry on doing that, but also while we're doing that, we're going to make our way over to the first waypoint, which will start making its appearance within the next few moments. But let's just carry on first of all, picking up all the carbon, all the ferrite dust, and getting the last snippets of some sodium rich plants, which we will need a little bit further down the line. So we've got the distress signal now, so we're going to make our way over to it. But again, as we're making our way over to it, if you see any plants or anything that you want to go ahead and mine on the way, you can carry on running and you can mine at the exact same time. Again, picking up resources like this at the very beginning stage is absolutely essential. Now, that rock is running. Why is that rock running? I've never seen that one before. Even to this day, I still see new things in No Man's Sky, and it's absolutely crazy. So yeah, you can see again, this is what I'm doing. So if you are on your very first run of No Man's Sky, don't worry about it, just take everything in your stride. There is a learning curve to No Man's Sky like with any game, but once you get the hang of it, once you learn what all the symbols are, it's fairly easy past that point. Now, another thing that I like to do is whenever you come to like these small encampments, or you actually do see them dotted about the place, is these like damaged material bits and like just junk lay on the floor. Don't overlook them. Go inside, because you'll find that there is sometimes useful resources. Not every time, it is quite random what you do get, but loot them anyway, because again, when you complete the tutorial missions, or part of completing the tutorial missions is once you get to the space station, you're going to need to make a lot of units, and picking up stuff like this helps to make sure that you get enough units in order to buy what it is you'll need to buy, which we'll get onto in just a little bit. So we've done our very first thing there, which was talk to that like orb thing, and orb circle crash thing, whatever you want to call it, the iteration. So now we have our ship for the very first time. We're inside of it, and you can go up to yourself, you can read the dialogue, or you can just connect your suit up to it directly. Now, just for time saving measures today, we will just be going directly and getting the next quest, which is the pulse engine. Now, the pulse engine is what it says on the tin. It allows you to pulse in space. It don't allow you to go from system to system, but it allows you to get very fast in said system once you're in space. So we need to go ahead and get that sorted. But again, pick up the oxygen before you go out and venture and start going out a little bit further afield, which you'll need to in just a moment. Pick up oxygen. You will need it. So first of all, we need to make the metal plates, which is what we've just done there. So we need to jump back in our ship once we get the metal plate. That'll give you some more dialogue, and then we just need to continue onwards. Now we need to request assistance because that's going to give us our next objective. So when we go to the iteration again, which is right here, again, take the time, pause the video and read what it says. The lore of No Man's Sky is actually really good, but nonetheless, what we need to do now is activate the map that the iteration has just given us. So once you activate the map, and again, all you need to do for that is go inside of your inventory, we will then get the next bit, which is right here. So this is now where the storm is going to start rolling in, but it'll only really kick in once you get about halfway to your destination. So whilst you are en route to that destination, just go ahead and start mining resources, as you can see what I'm doing right here, which is just running as we are going. So once we do that, and you can see we're getting quite a lot of resources, but there is a storm obviously kicking in, and it is starting now to take a toll on our health and our hazard protection. So do keep that in mind. Whenever you're in a storm, always look at your hazard protection, look at your health going down. Once it gets past halfway, that's when you kind of need to judge it for yourself and then refill it all. The oxygen refills your health, and the hazard protection is the sodium that you picked up as well, or the Na plant that you're seeing on your scanner. So we need to go to this holo archive right here. Again, it'll give you a little bit more dialogue, but it will give you what you need. So you can see finds the damage, can't find ship, again, yada yada yada, but it will give you the hermetic seal. Now the hermetic seal is the final piece of puzzle for your ship that you need. But hang fire, don't run directly out of this little pod here because there is still a storm going on, remember. But once you collect that hazard protection module, the storm will start to pass. Once the storm passes, then run out. That way then you're not going to take a directly massive big hit when you start running back to your ship, which then brings you on to the next point, is how you're going to find out where your ship is. You need to now install a visor. So for that, all we need to do is just get a few little bits and pieces like some carbon nanotubes, and that's pretty much it. I mean, carbon nanotubes are fairly easy. It's just ferrite dust, nothing too significant. And again, just by getting a few rocks on the floor, which you now should have plenty of if you are collecting those materials as you are going. So again, when we're running back, we're going to do exactly the same thing. We're going to run back and we're going to start now collecting everything that we see, but also now, because we have availability with the scanner, we're going to now scan everything that we see. And the reason being is every time you scan something, you get automatically units for scanning items, which means you can scan everything on the planet and you can get quite a lot of units just by scanning passively, which a lot of people that I've seen on playthroughs before don't do, which I wonder why, because they get to a point when they need to go to the space station, and then they kind of they need the cash and they don't have the cash, but they would have got it if they just started to scan a few things. So, I see that a lot. So start scanning as you are running as well at this point. Now, we are at the ship. Fantastic. So what we're going to do is just install our pulse drive. Now we need to get launch thruster fuel. Now, launch thruster fuel is just pure ferrite dust and dihydrogen jelly, or dihydrogen jelly. But remember the blue crystals that we was collecting? Well, you're going to need some of that for the dihydrogen jelly, which is why we was collecting it as well to begin with. But next, we will need some pure ferrite dust, and that is fairly easy to get. It's just normal ferrite dust, but we will need to get ourselves one of these nifty little contraptions that I absolutely love, as anybody watches the channel knows and knows why, but we're not going to say what it is because it's very naughty. It's the portable refiner. Now, the portable refiner, ladies and gentlemen, all we need to do is put some fuel in it, and then we need to get some ferrite dust and then just set it off, and that's it. Now, the ferrite dust will be converting over to pure ferrite dust, but don't convert all of your ferrite dust to pure. Only do what you need right now. You can do all this kind of stuff later on. Right now, we are just trying to get the ship up to a good standard. So we've gone ahead and we've got the landing module all fixed. So now we can now take off. So once we take off, we're gonna go up into space. But here's another trick. When you are in your ship, you can actually change the view from your ship from first person to third person. I highly recommend this. And also you can see that when you're flying, you can fly up, down, left and right. But for you, for the first time playing this, your controls on your options menu will be tethered. So if you're playing your ship looks like this and it has the line going across and it's really slow to turn, it doesn't feel as responsive. All you need to do to fix that is to go into your options menu, control, and then where it says ships controlled, change it to locked, apply, and that's you. Your ship now, ladies and gentlemen, is a lot more highly responsive, and I highly recommend again changing that directly when you can, because it will make a massive difference to your flying. However, some people really do like the tethered action, so whatever preference best suits you, change it to whatever you want, but I can't fly like that. That's just me. So next we need to do is just do some pulsing in space, just flying. Again, just follow the directions, bottom right of the screen, it'll tell you what you need to do. Once you do that, you will get the next incoming transmission. So let's just quickly read through this. You need to identify yourself or listen, and it will just give you some more dialogue. So again, read over this in your own leisure and your own time, but it has come a long way from the very first tutorial missions I ever did. There wasn't really as much as involved as this. I mean, yeah, you still have to go and get your ship and that, but it wasn't that involved as it is right now. So here we go. Once we're in space and we're past the dialogue, I always recommend, even though now you've got a beacon to go somewhere, just spend a few extra moments in space, because in space we have asteroids. Now asteroids, if you destroy them, they'll give you gold, silver, but they'll also give you something called tritium. You're looking for little blue asteroids. Now tritium is what you will need to refuel your ship as you go along. So make sure that you do collect some tritium as you are on your way, otherwise your pulse will stop. It'll take you ages to get from point A to point B until you find another asteroid field. So just start getting little things as you go along, but also because you're getting gold and silver, that does help later down the line when you need to get some fast cash. Believe me, it's a lifesaver. So just spend a few extra minutes and get a few extra bits and pieces up in space. Now once you're down on the planet, you then want to go to your next location, but again, while you're down here, start scanning everything, mining everything that you can, and just make your way over to said location, because you'll need the resources further down the line. Now the next iteration is right here. It's on this broken technology module, so we just need to go ahead, decipher the signal. Now it'll give you some more dialogue, decoding 161616, no fuel, fail to reach station, that kind of thing. So here we go. So we just got to extract plans. That will give you some building things, such as the base computer, which we'll need in just a moment. But next thing is the most important thing you need to install first is the terrain manipulator. And for that, it's fairly simple. It is just a few little things. So let's go ahead. It's dihide jelly, and then it's 2 of these carbon nanotubes. So let's just install those. Again, if you've been running about collecting things as you've been going, you'll have all these items anyway. So we need to look now for our first deposit using the scan tool, the visor, should I say. So let's go and find the copper deposit. That's only a little bit away, so let's make our way over. Now, the next thing we're going to do is, as we're making our way over, a lot of people won't tell you this, but start decreasing the wildlife population where you can. The reason being is, it will give you something called meaty chunks, and meaty chunks are absolutely expensive per pound. So essentially, if you have a lot of meaty chunks and you go and sell them, let's say at a space station, you'll get easily over 100,000 units for just, helping the wildlife population. Let's say that, managing the wildlife population. Let's say it that way. But you get the meaty chunks from the animals, and where to do that is unfortunately by managing the wildlife population. I hope you know where I'm going with this. You'll need it, believe me. So here we go. We've gone ahead and we mined all the copper. Now with the copper, we can now put down one of our portable refiners, and we're going to do the same thing again that we did with the ferrite dust. but this time we're going to use copper, and then that will turn it into chromatic metal. Now, once you get enough chromatic metal, I only did about 60 here. That's all you really need at this moment in time. We're just going to remove everything and then pick up your portable refiner. Don't leave it. A lot of people leave them. Don't, because then you are just wasting resources, and you're always going to need a portable refiner, so you might as well keep it. Next thing we're going to do is put down our first base computer. Now, for this part of the tutorial section, because believe it or not, even though you are playing the game and the game doesn't tell you you're playing a tutorial, you are playing a tutorial part of the game. So we put down our base computer, and then we access it again really for the first time, and we just read the dialogue that it gives us. Again, you can pause the video here at your own leisure and read what it says. So once you do that, it'll give you access to your first lot of building materials, which is just wooden structures, so you will need carbon for this. Again, if you've been collecting carbon on your route, then you'll be able to go ahead and just put down 4 floors, 3 walls, 1 ceiling and a door. That's basically it. So we're putting down our roof here, and then we're going to go inside of it, because again, there is a storm that is triggered by doing this, so you will want to get inside as quickly as possible. Now, here's a quick tip. Go into your build menu, and then you can actually pick up your computer and bring it in on the inside, because you will need to keep going back to your computer, like for example right now, to carry on getting missions and quests and so on. So if you have to go outside constantly, that's going to affect your health and your hazard protection, which is then going to cost you resources. So just avoid all that, bring your computer inside, and you'll have a much better and easier time. So now is magnetized ferrite and just some of those carbon nanotubes. So we're going to use our portable refiner, we're going to put it next to the base computer, and we're just going to go ahead now and refine some ferrite dust, which will then turn it into pure ferrite dust. But this is now what you do with it. Once that is complete, you're going to take the pure ferrite dust, and then you're going to refine it again. So you can see right here, I've got the pure ferrite dust. I'm going to put it on the other side, and now that is going to give us magnetized ferrite dust. So you're doing it again, but every time you do the transfer like that, it's going to take more of that substance to convert. I hope that makes sense. So you will need a lot of ferrite dust for that, but don't worry about it. Just collect it as you go along. Next thing we need to do is put down this research unit. Now, as we're putting down this research unit, we will need to go ahead and collect a few extra items in order to unlock things. So we need to put down a base teleporter, but we don't have access to that because we need technology modules. Now, this is where it gets a little bit more interesting, because these technology modules cannot be gathered so easily. They're not above ground, they're actually below ground, and it's not like a cave system that you have to go through. You have to make the cave system. So for that, you use a terrain manipulator, and you just dig a hole and you'll get to these module parts. However, modules can be quite sparse depending on which planet that you unfortunately land on. So if it's a good planet that you first spawn on, fantastic, you shouldn't have a problem finding them. But I was somewhere in between with my first landing, so even though I did have access to technology modules with this, they were kind of far between. So for me, I had to go on a small adventure every time to go and find these technology modules. So it is what it is. Now, the way that we're doing this right now is you're going to call in your ship, bring it over to your base, because your ship right now is fairly quite far away. Once you do that, go back inside and rename your base, so then you know exactly what base it is, because naming bases is also a very important part of No Man's Sky, because otherwise you're going to have 1,000 bases and not know where any of them are, what they're called. So just start naming it from the go. You'll save yourself a lot of hassle later on, believe me. So jump inside your ship, jump out of it. That's also going to make a save point as well. And then whilst we're at it, we're going to put down a base terminus, which again, you should have the resources for. But if not, don't worry about it. Just go outside and go and get some of those resources. So now we need to power it. Now this is where the technology modules will come back into play, because now we need to unlock the biofuel reactor and a few other things in order to make sure that we can properly power this small base. So as you can see, I'm looking around in my visor and there wasn't any more technology modules in my immediate vicinity, so I had to go on a very small run, but I managed to find some. So whilst I was out here and it wasn't stormy, I decided to go ahead and go and collect a few more. So I always collect them and then I wait around just for a quick second just to make sure that there's been no bugs or anything, and it does give me my technology modules, because sometimes you might only get one technology module, sometimes you get two, and so on. So always make sure that you know what you're getting. Once you do that, go back over to your blueprint machine, blueprint unit or whatever, and then we're going to go ahead and unlock the biofuel reactor, and you're going to unlock the electrical wire. So we're going to put down a biofuel reactor, which you will need a steel plate for, so let's do that right now. So steel plate and some oxygen, fantastic, that gives us the biofuel reactor. Now we're going to get the electronic wiring and put it from one side to the other. You'll see the snap points, and all we need to do is fuel it up. So don't waste your oxygen on this, just use some carbon. You can get carbon by getting some trees. It's fairly straightforward. Once you do that, you'll get the next prompt from the base archive or the base computer or whatever it is you want to call it. So let's carry on doing the main quest and the missions, which now, you know, we are making a very good solid pace and run at this first part here. So let's jump into our ship and then we're going to take off into space. Now this is where we are going to go towards the stars, and as we do, we are now going to go to the space station for the very first time. Now remember before, like I said, you need to start scanning everything, start taking care of the wildlife population, because this is what this moment has been leading up to. You're gonna need a lot of units what comes next. So let's go ahead and let's land. Now when we land here, ladies and gentlemen, you will have to first of all go and speak to some NPCs. You'll need to speak to 3 of them in total, because you're going to be finding some information out for the next quest. So the way that we do this is just very simply, we're going to go upstairs and then we're going to speak to any of the NPCs, and they are littered up here and they'll be right at the top of the stairs. So let's just go ahead and start asking about the other travelers. So you can see we can just get this over and done with fairly quickly. This is the second one. When you speak to the third one, which is this little geck right here, he will give us what we are looking for. Fantastic. And then we can go from here. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen, let's just get past this. So we can see now we have the space station and everything there, which is awesome. But the next thing we can do from here is if we run down the top here and then we'll go and visit the space suit upgrade guy. That's what I call him. But basically you go over to this little exosuit upgrade unit station here, and you can get a free exosuit upgrade unit. Don't skip that, very important. You need as much space as you can possibly get. Now, whilst you are up here, ladies and gentlemen, take the time to go ahead and go into the appearance modifier and change your character to however it is you want to do it. So for this run, I'm not going to spend too much of time here just whilst we are doing everything, but this is a character that I come up with. I thought it looks quite snazzy. So here we go. We are now going to quickly run back to base. Now it looks like this is where some of the changes happen, because I was getting ahead of myself thinking that we need to go to the shop part to get some resources, but it looks like now this is where some of the changes happening. So this is something new for me, and we need to now, instead of going to the shop, go back to our base, and then once we are down here we need to go ahead, jump in and out, make a save point. And I always recommend that whenever you go ahead and you land somewhere new or you do something new, jump in and out your ship, make a save point, because that will save you a lot of hassle if anything was to happen to your game, bugs and things like that. So now what we need to do is, obviously once we've spoken to the base computer again, we need to jump in our ship and then we need to go to our next point. So let's fly up into space and get that over and done with. So here we go, we are just about landed, and it will give you a location to go, but at this point it's literally just that massive crash freighter on the ground. We need to go to the middle of it and speak to the next anomaly ball thing that we need to speak to. So we need to request I can't even speak today. Request the information. Let's take the blueprint, and then we will get access to the hyperdrive, which we will need if we want to jump from system to system. Now it's the hyperdrive now that we'll need to go back up to the space station and get some extra things, but those extra things are very costly. So it's these It's those little computer parts that we need. So this is where we're going to go ahead up into space, and then we'll go back up to the space station once again. Now, when we land, we want to go to this right here, which is the space station terminus. We're going to sell some items. Now, we're just going to sell any items that you know that you don't want. I like to go ahead and sell the raw steak, because you can see it gives you like 100,000+, and that's by helping the animal population on any planet. But you will need the microprocessors, and they cost 100 and something thousand for 5 of them. So go ahead, sell what you need to sell, get the cash, get the microprocessors, go back to your base. Once you're back into your base, we're going to go to the portable refiner, and then we're going to refine some more copper, which is why I didn't refine everything at the very beginning. Once you get some copper, all we need to do now is go ahead and install the hyperdrive. So let's jump into our ship, let's go to the hyperdrive, and then let's just install it with what we've just collected. Fantastic. Jump in and out of our ship, make a save point, and then we can go up into space. But as always, there's always some kind of prompt, so let's just read everything very quickly. We need to get the information for the warp cell, so we need to tune our ship to antimatter, which is what we've just done automatically. So we need to get some launch fuel as well. Launch fuel is very important, so for that we just need to get some more ferrite dust here. So let's collect ferrite dust, and then we can create the metal plating. We can then get the launch thruster fuel, and then take off in our ship. See, ladies and gentlemen, even sometimes you just can't collect enough. Even though you are running and collecting things all the time, there are still times that even with all that effort, there is still times where you still need more. You just never have enough ferrite dust for some reason. But no, it is what it is. So we're in space right now. We just scanned a planet, and it'll take us over to our next location. From this point onwards, ladies and gentlemen, it is fairly simple. So it is a lot of going to point and finding different locations. But at these points, ladies and gentlemen, for example, right here, you'll see there is a save point, locally save to where you are. And also they have like these abandoned like mechanical things, boxes that you can open. Again, it's always good to open these crates, because you can see there right away we've got a couple of microprocessors which are worth quite a lot, as you've already seen, which again can be sold later on. So what we need to do is to go to this corrupted terminal, and then take out the gunk first of all, go inside of it, and then just follow the terminal mission. So here we go. So again, more dialogue here. The terminal is clogged with an unwavering pulsing slime. Oh, we all love a bit of slime, don't we? But here we go. Take blueprint and read the log. Again, it'll give us a bunch of 16, 16, 16. It's all part of the lure, so don't worry about that right now unless you are following along. Then pause the video. All we need to do next is go to portable refiner, and then we need to go ahead and put in some carbon, and that will then give us some condensed carbon. But first of all, let's actually fuel the portable refiner with carbon, and then put more carbon in the carbon. Here we go. So that's going to give us some condensed carbon right here. Fantastic. And then we can just pick up our portable refiner and take it on our adventure. So let's get some antimatter, and then we'll need an antimatter casing, but again we need oxygen and ferrite dust. So let's go ahead and get that sorted. So we can get these snapping plants for oxygen. They don't always have to be found via the visor. And then obviously we can just get some rocks for the ferrite dust. Fairly straightforward, fairly easy. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen, we're just going to start collecting these last little pieces now, and now we can create them housing, and then we marry the two up and we get our first warp fuel load, which now we run back to our ship. We go to our thrusters that we just installed, and then we just fuel it up, jump in and out of the ship, make a save point, and now we can finally be on our way. And I love this. Doing this for the first time all over again just brings back so many memories. It really does. So here we go. For the first time you see the galaxy map, and ladies and gentlemen, there are over 18 quintillion planets to go and explore. 18 quintillion. So let's go to the next system, which is literally what, 5 planets out of 18 quintillion. It's gonna take a while, but here we go. Once you get to the next system, you will go ahead and get the very next quest. So let's wait for that to pop up. Fantastic. So let's make our way over. Again, it's not a bad idea to pulse over, and if you see any asteroid fields, go ahead and start getting rid of the asteroid fields and getting some extra stuff. But whilst we are on the ground, we will need to go to this smaller version of a monolith. So let's do this right now. So let's read through this quest very quickly and then move on to the next one. Are we a trend? Are we a trend? Are we a friend? Are we a traveler? Who knows? So this is all part of it. Are you the first? Are you the last? I always put it's last. I don't know why, but I've always put it's last. So then next we need to go ahead. Are you the Crimson Eye? Have you seen it? Are you both? So I always put either both or the Crimson Eye thing. I don't really know at this point. I can't remember the last time I even answered that question. It's been so long. So here we go. We've just about completed that now. Fantastic. We'll also be given another warp cell as well. But whilst we're here, ladies and gentlemen, what you want to do is go to these like little stone looking things, because if you activate them, you can actually get knowledge from the stone. So you actually learn languages of like the Gex and the Viking and so on. So whenever you see these pop around in the world and you'll see loads of them, just make sure that you activate them in order to keep on learning words. So then you actually get full sentences out of the NPCs rather than gibberish. Always highly recommended. So here we go. We're going to take off now and we're going to go and jump to the next system. It can be any system. I just like to follow the line here. But truthfully, you don't particularly have to. It's just something I've always done. I've just always followed the line. So once you get to your new system, again, it will then give you another prompt. So go ahead when you're in the ship and you just answer the prompt and read the dialogue. Once you do that, ladies and gentlemen, you'll then be given another set of coordinates. So again, this is what I'm talking about. It's a lot of go here, do this, go there, do that. So let's go there and do that. So we've gone ahead, landed on this planet here. Now this one's a very buggy planet, but it'll take us over to this next point, and we just need to go ahead and answer whatever this ball commands of us. So let's read the dialogue, but also it will give us access to another ship. So with this one, it gives me a landed ship. It might be the same for you, it might not be, but chances are you should get another ship. Now for what I like to do is, rather than go and complete everything straight away, have a look around in the nearest vicinity and see if there's any like buried technology modules or salvage data, should I say. So let's just quickly grab a few of those whilst we are here, because remember, you can unlock stuff, but on top of that, you can go ahead and sell them for a nice profit as well. They are worth quite a lot inside of the space station. But for now, let's just keep them going. We might need them later on. So whilst we're here, we've got this new ship. Now, it's up to you what you do from here. You can go ahead and fix it up, or you can leave it. But what I like to do is something different. I like to claim it, but I'm not going to fix it up. I'm just going to sell it later. And the reason being is it's worth 5 million units. So this 5 million units will be a nice bonus to what it is that we're trying to do. And it means then we'll be able to spend that later on something quite nice. So let's go ahead and just call in our ship like I've done there, because once you jump into a ship, it'll make that ship your default ship. So you want to go ahead and obviously bring in your own ship again, jump in and out of that, and then that'll transfer it back to that being the default ship. I hope that makes sense. So here we go. We're in our ship now, and then we're going to fly off into space because we need to get the rest of the stuff to install the mining laser. However, well, I said the mining laser, the advanced mining laser. However, this is where now we'll be contacted by Nada, and you'll get access for the very first time to the wonderful anomaly. Now, the anomaly is a big super mega structure that essentially acts like a massive multiplayer lobby. You'll get access to a lot of things, including the Quicksilver companion shop. You'll get access to the Nexus. You'll get access to all the little shops and trinkets in the back of the Nexus as well, or the anomaly, should I say, which will allow you to carry on buying items and building materials. You'll get access to everything. So the anomaly is a very, very important place in No Man's Sky. But this is where we are going to leave today's episode. We've started directly from the very beginning, and we got all the way to the very end of the very first episode. We got to the space anomaly, so we will be continuing this as a playthrough series. I'm going to play the entire game from start to finish of No Man's Sky, so make sure that you like today's video and subscribe if you want to see more. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's everything from me here today, and as always, my name is Professor Cynical, and I'll catch you all again in the next one. Bye for now.